Finding out the bank scammed me, part 1. But first I want to start the video out by saying this was my personal experience with a local bank here in my hometown and the loan officer that I used. I'm not saying that your experience will be exactly like ours. I'm just trying to signal the red flags to look for so you don't go through what we did. But first off, we sold a house and we had some profit out of the house after we sold it. And so we went to the bank to get a construction loan. Prior to going to the bank, we done all of our research, called the bank, got all of the information on how to take out this construction loan and then turn it over to a long-term loan. Crossed and dotted all of our I's and T's. Before going to the bank, I wanted to make sure what we was gonna owe in closing costs, a down payment, etc., etc. Loan officer told me, he said, you will not have to have a down payment. He said, because your house and the land itself is going to stand for the down payment. We asked again, and he told us no again. Then we go to the bank to sign the paperwork to begin the construction loan. Keep in mind, I was asking for the construction loan and when we turned it over to a long-term loan, if we needed the down payment. And again, he told me no. So fast forward to he sends all these random messages in October on Halloween. Can you come in? We're closing tomorrow. I've got everything done. No, I can't come tomorrow, but I can try and come the next day. What do I need to bring? And he doesn't say anything about a down payment or anything like that. The next day, I message him and I'm like, hey, she's feeling better. We can come the very next day. He's like, oh, actually, I haven't got the title work or anything back yet. But 2 days prior, he told me we was ready to close. This was red flag number 1. This went on for around a month. 2 weeks later, he sends a message and he says, hey, we're gonna be closing. We're just waiting on the title work and you're gonna need to bring in X amount of dollars for a down payment. I said, wait, what, a down payment? You told us we didn't have to have a down payment. And just when you said a few weeks ago for us to come in the next day to close, when actually you didn't even have everything ready to close, you never even mentioned a down payment then. And this is why we asked you in the very beginning, because we wanted to put aside this money if there was a down payment. His reply was, I'm really sorry. I wish there was something I can do. Let me see what I can do and I will try to keep you guys from having to pay the down payment. Let me see what I can do. I talked to my husband. I told my husband, I'm like, he's our pastor. We know him. I'm sure he's going to do everything he can to get this down payment done for us so that we don't have to pay it. After all, why would he lie to us? He is a pastor. He is a Christian. My husband's like, I just don't understand how this makes sense. We went from not having a down payment to having a down payment now, and it was a pretty large amount. I also told my husband, this guy's been a loan officer for 15 plus years. He knows if he can get this down payment waived for us, and I'm sure he can, or else he wouldn't even offer it. My husband replies, he says, well, if he's been a loan officer this long, then why didn't he know we was gonna have to have a down payment? A week later, I send him another message. I'm like, hey, did you get the down payment took care of? And he's like, I haven't heard anything yet. I will let you know as soon as I. Then a few weeks went by later, towards the end of November to beginning of December. He says, hey, we're ready to close. I need you to bring in $1,500 to $1,800. I thought you was getting the down payment took care of. He said, I'm sorry, but there was absolutely nothing I could do about it. I told him, I said, we're not ready to close tomorrow. This is why I asked you in the very beginning if we was gonna have a down payment. And I said, what about next week? And he said, well, if you wait till next week, the down payment is gonna go up to $2,500 to $2,800, I believe is what it was. It was somewhere in that range. And I said, what? How would a down payment go up? I've never heard of that before in my life. When we closed on our last house, the down payment was what it was. It says, okay, let's schedule it Friday with another loan officer so we can look into this and make sure it's legit. I send the loan officer back a message and I say, okay, we'll just come Friday. And his reply, I'm not gonna be able to be there Friday, and the soonest I can have the paperwork done is Saturday morning. I said, well, we can't come Saturday morning we need to come Friday. I go to the dollar store later that evening. Lo and behold, he is in the same store. He comes running me down. Like, hey, Brianna, how about, I'm gonna be able to be there Friday and you've got a lot going on. I'll just bring the paperwork to your mom and dad's house and you can just give me the down payment and you all can just sign there. So, red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag. I was absolutely stunned. And I just want to say to all of the hometown people that I have all of the screenshots of all of the proof of this. Please don't come at me saying that I'm lying, because I'm absolutely not.